So today we're doing section 3.4. It's all about graphing a line using a table. So our goal today is to make an XY chart and to graph a line. You need to write all this in your notes, so here are the steps for today. Number 1, we are going to start by making sure that the y is by itself. So you want y equals and then all the other stuff on the right side. We're going to pick 3 x values. We usually do 0, 1, and 2 just because they're the easiest numbers. You're plugging those numbers in, so plug 0 into the equation, find your y. Plug 1 into the equation, find the y. Plug 2 in the equation, find the y. That'll give you 3 ordered pairs. You graph those points, you connect them with a line. Here is our first example. So in your notes, next to the first graph, go ahead and write this down. We have y equals x plus 3. We need to find 3 ordered pairs that makes this equation true. So I'm going to start with a table. This is called an XY table, or some people call it a T-chart. I told you in the last slide, I always use 0, 1, and 2, just because it's super easy to plug those numbers in. So start with a chart. In your X column, put 0, put 1, and put 2. You are plugging 0 in for the X, finding the Y. Plugging 1 in for the X, finding the Y. Plugging 2 in for the x, finding the y. Okay, so let's do the 0 first. Take the x out, put a 0. What is 0 plus 3? 3. So when x is 0, y has to be 3. Just like the circle square thing we were looking at. Okay, now we're going to make the x a 1. When we make the x a 1, what does the y have to be? 4. Good. Okay, now we're going to make the x a 2. When x is 2, what is y? 5. These are the ordered pairs that we are graphing. And again, it sort of makes sense, right? There are lots of combinations of numbers that would work here. We're just plugging the x in, finding the y that would work. Plugging the x in, finding the y that would work. Plugging the x in, finding the y that would work. There is an infinite amount of x and y combinations that work here. We're just focusing on 3, and then we're going to use those to draw a line. The line goes on showing solutions forever and ever. It shows all the ordered pairs that would work. Let me go ahead and graph these and then I'll answer questions. So 0, 3 is the ordered pair I want to graph. How do I graph 0, 3? You go up 3. You go side to side 0 and then you go up 3. How do I graph 1, 4? Go right 1, up 4. How do I graph 2, 5? Right 2, up 5. Good. And then I connect those with a line. If those don't form a line, you are in trouble. Now, you have to put arrows on the end because remember, there's more x and y combinations that would work, and this line's going to show them. So like if I went to a point like way out here that was on the line, and I plugged in that x and that y, it would still make this true. So we use the arrows to show all the solutions along this line that would make this this equation true. What are your questions on the first example? Alright, so for number 2, I need to make an x and y chart. The y is already by itself, so I'm ready to start plugging x values in. What are the 3 x values you want to use?
0, 1, and 2.
0, 1, and 2. Do you have to do 0, 1, and 2? No, you can pick any 3 x's you want, really. Okay, so now I'm going to plug the 0 in for the x. That's multiplication, so I'm going to use parentheses. Then I'm going to do it again with the 1 in, then I'm going to do it again with the 2 in. Okay, but let's do the 0 first. What is 2 times 0? And what is 0 plus 3? So we get 0, 3. Okay, so I'm taking the x out and I'm plugging a 0 in. So what's 2 times 0? And what's 0 plus 3? 3. So my answer here when x is 0, y is 3. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to put a 1 right here. What's 2 times 1?
2.
Plus 3?
5.
5. So when I plug a 1 in, I get a 5 out. Next, I'm going to plug a 2 in. What's 2 times 2?
4.
And what's 4 plus 3? 7. So when I plug a 2 in, I get a 7 for the y. Take a look at those. See if you soak it all in. Parentheses just mean multiplication. All right, now I need to graph those. So 0, 3, side to side 0, up 3. 1, 5 is right 1, up 5. 2, 7 is right 2, up 7. Those form a line, so connect them and put arrows on the end. I forgot to tell you guys, I want these lines to be super straight. The easiest way to make a straight line is to use your ID. It's like a built-in straight line. So instead of, these need to be straight lines, yes. Because this is algebra class, and in algebra we graph straight lines. So connect the 3 dots with your ID and use that to draw. It'll look super neat. You'll be so excited about your work. Yes? That's fine. I mean, this is the easiest way to make a super straight line. Okay, find something straight. You can use another sheet of paper, a side of a notebook, lots of options. All right, what are your questions on this?
Oh my. Hello. You putting all these on the board?
Not today, we won't have time. Okay, questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, here's number 3. So on number 3, we have y equals negative x plus 3. Negative x is like multiplying by a what? So it's like negative 1 times x. So all of my x values, I'm going to multiply by a negative 1. Then I'm going to add 3 to it. All right, so what do I want to plug in first? 0, 1, 2. So I'm going to take the x out. I'm going to put a 0 in. So I have negative 1 times 0 plus 3. What's negative 1 times 0? And what's 0 plus 3? 3. Then I'm going to plug a 1 in. What is, I'm going to do it up on the top. I'm sort of out of space on the bottom. What is negative 1 times 1? That's negative 1. And what's negative 1 plus 3? 2. So when I plug 1 in, I get a 2 as my y. Now I need to know what happens when I plug a 2 in. What's negative 1 times 2? And what's negative 2 plus 3? 1. What are your questions so far? You would prefer to do it on notebook paper instead of the graphs I provided you? Sure. It's up to you. Oh, like this part?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine if there's not enough room on your graphs. Okay, let's graph these. So 0, 3. So side to side 0, up 3. 1, 2. So right 1, up 2. And 2, 1 means right 2, up 1. Those are going to form a straight line, so connect them and you're good. Remember, if they don't form a straight line, it means that one or more of your points is wrong, so you need to start over. What are your questions? All right, we're going to do 2 more examples in class, and then we're going to pick up tomorrow on example 6. So that's sort of how the rest of the hour is going to go. You will have some homework to practice these.
You said we're going over the rest tomorrow?
Yeah, we're going to do 4 and 5 today, and then we'll do 6 through 10 tomorrow. All right. All right, number 4 is already in y equals, so I'm okay to start my xy table. What are the x values that I want to use? 0, 1, and 2. This one's pretty easy. You're not multiplying by anything. You're just adding 7. So we'll have 0 plus 7. We'll have 1 plus 7. And we'll have 2 plus 7. Did someone just ask if I have to use 0, 1, and 2? I've addressed that several times. The answer is no. You can use any 3 numbers you want. But when we do them on the board, these are the 3 I'm going to use because they're the 3 easiest. Okay? 0 plus 7 is? 1 plus 7 is? 2 plus 7 is? 9. I'll pause there for any questions. All right, if there are no questions, I'm going to go ahead and graph these. So side to side 0, up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right 1, up 8. That'll put us 1 above the 7. And then right 2 and up 9. Boop. Those form a straight line. I'm going to use a straight edge like the side of my ID. I'm going to connect them. I'm going to put arrows on the end so that it shows all the XY solutions that would work. So there was a question of could you use different XYs. Now on this one, if you plug in like 4, you would have 4, 11. That is off the graph. I would not plug anything in that gets you off the graph. But you could definitely plug in like negative numbers. Your line would just be somewhere down here, okay? It'll still be the same line. It'll just be on a different part of the graph. So yes, you can plug in other numbers, but I would try to stay on the graph. It's just going to make things easier. What are your questions? All right, last one for our notes today. It's y equals 4x plus 1. So any x that we plug in, we're going to multiply by 4, and then we're going to add a 1 to that. All right, so what do you guys want to plug in?
0, 2.
Great, that's what I want to plug in as well. No, we're not, no. All right, and when I plug a 0 in, I have 4 times 0 plus 1. 4 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 1 is 1. So I have 0, 1 as my first ordered pair. When I plug a 1 in, I have 4 times 1, which is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. And when I plug a 2 in, that gives me an 8 plus 1, which is a 9. Graphing those, I go side to side 0, up 1. I go right 1, up 5. And then I go right 2, up 9. So this one's a little steeper, but it's still a straight line. So connect the dots. Go a little farther in both directions and put arrows on the end. What are your questions? So on your homework, see how there's lots of workspace? That's where I want the table. So our first problem is y equals 3x. So I need to set up my xy table. Plug in 0, 1, and 2. So I'm going to need to do y equals 3 times 0, y equals 3 times 1, and y equals 3 times 2. What is 3 times 0?
0.
What is 3 times 1?
3.
What is 3 times 2? Those are our three ordered pairs. 0, 0, you don't go side to side. You don't go up and down. 1, 3 is right 1, up 3. And 2, 6 is right 2, up 6. Go ahead and connect those. Arrows on the end. And problem number 1 is done. What are your questions? All right, you need to work on this homework. It is due at the beginning of class tomorrow. Hold on to those notes for 2 reasons. We're finishing them tomorrow when you come to class. You'll also need them next week for your notebook quiz. Questions?